I'm going to demonstrate a couple of things. One of the first things that comes to people's mind is, how do you deploy applications to Bluemix? And what I want to show is, if you've ever tinkered with the day trader application, then you would know it's a Java application, and that Java application could be developed and managed. Could be managed inside of Eclipse. Okay, so what we did when we developed this application, the Java components of this application, we took the approach of putting it into a Java project, and we created some Ant scripts that would actually allow you to build a output that is basically the EAR file, the WAR file, the embedded jar files, Liberty XML file. So basically, at the end of the day, when we run this build, we have a Liberty server package, okay? And that Liberty server package structure gets put out on the file system, and then we can push that out to Bluemix. So if I just did this Ant build, and I'm taking a risk here, because if I do this first and I push this out to Bluemix, and it breaks, we're not going to see a lot of demos. So I've done this build, and went out there, so I want to go into, crap, I should have been a little ready here. When I go here, my output to that went into this build directory here. You don't have to be real concerned about that. It's just a matter of this. I have a build directory, and my output got put there. So I have the project that I care about, my Ant script, and buried down into this folder is a this Cloud Trader WW demo, and under that folder structure is the Liberty server profile package. I'm not going to go into it. If you're familiar with Liberty, it's a server package. So if I wanted to deploy this application, a couple things I need to do. I could use the Cloud Foundry command line tools. So first thing I'd need to do is I'd need to log in to the Cloud Foundry command line tools. Now you get the command line tool right from Bluemix. It gives you the instructions on how to download that. And then once you download it, you can just use it. And this is my Bluemix credentials. It's not my internet IBM credentials. So once I log into Bluemix, he's going to recognize that I've got some organizations available. I happen to have a few. Since I've been playing around with it, you likely only have one. The one I care about is this Worldwide Tech Sales Organization. So I'll select that I'm going to work in that one. And once he comes up, he's going to recognize I only have one space or one subset of area to work in there, and I can push stuff too. That's all you got to do to get logged in to the command line. And then when I want to push the application out to Bluemix, it's basically the Cloud Foundry command called push. Now, there's a little bit of magic going on there, but not a lot. My application actually binds to several services, and those several services need to be created inside of Bluemix. Okay, so one way or another, using the command line tool or using the UI, you would create those services. It's a few clicks of a button. There's also a manifest file in there, and my manifest file, instead of passing a lot of command line arguments into my push command to tell it how to bind to the services and what to do and credentials and stuff, I put that into the manifest file. Right? Now, by doing that push, he reads the manifest file, and then he continues to go and create a Liberty build pack, create all the Bluemix pieces it needs. It will then actually deploy my app and start my application. And that's going to take a couple of minutes while it's doing that. So I thought I'd go ahead and buy a good evaluation today. And you can just go ahead and pass this around if you don't mind. For those of you that may not like the Cadbury. Cadbury's local, right? You guys need to eat this stuff up. I've got some lints, so if anybody wants some lints, you can pass that around. So while that's going, I'm going to go ahead to a browser, and I'm going to bring up Bluemix and get logged in. And maybe I'm actually already logged in. I go to my dashboard. So I've logged into the same environment in the UI. And this application that's in red at the moment is the application that I'm trying to deploy. All right, so he's not running at the time because he's in the process of rebuilding that and redeploying it. And once the application is available, it'll turn green and I'll be able to access it. But what I want you to notice in this dashboard here is that this is no longer just a Java EE app, Java app. It is a Java app that I have my cursor over. I've also got an MQ application. I've got another application that is an Internet of Things gateway, right? He understands how to read information from a device and process that information from my simulated breathalyzer device. And Twitter integration app, right? And my simulated sensor. So you notice some of these are written in JavaScript, right? And then this one's in Java. And you also see that he lists the actual services that each app is using, okay? And then those services are also listed and they're created in here. So you can create the services just by clicking an add service, give it a name, what have you. You could do this using the command line as well. All right, so let's see how I'm doing here. He's trying to start my app, so it shouldn't take too much longer. So this Bluemix, I think there's two regions in Bluemix. There's a south region that I'm in, which is actually in Dallas, Texas, and I understand there's one here in UK somewhere that you have at, right here in London. Yeah. So I'm hooked back to the one in Dallas, and
That's called scratching your ear this way.
So hopefully this guy starts pretty quick. I don't know how long it usually takes to start from here, but usually I don't see so many start attempts here.
Hey Kevin, is that because you developed it locally? Is there a way to develop through the browser simple apps? So it's all on the Dallas server versus local?
I'm only connected to one region, so I have to imagine you'd have to work with the Bluemix guys to figure out which region you get connected to. Mm-hmm. When I log in, I only have one region, and that's the only region I can get connected to.
Because I've seen some Bluemix demos where it's all on the browser, right? They're not using Eclipse kind of.
Oh yeah. So you could everything that I did in creating the services and stuff, you can do in Eclipse, right? So while it's coming up, hopefully it comes up. Let me show you something else though, and this is pretty cool. I didn't learn this until not too terribly long ago, but you know that there is a Bluemix tool in Eclipse. There's a Bluemix plugin in Eclipse so that you can manage, you can deploy and start and create services, things like that, using the Bluemix plugin in Eclipse. So while I use the Ant scripts to build my project and use the command line to push that project out, the other thing that I could do is I could have actually taken the WebSphere Liberty Profile server and I could have just added it to the server, add remove, like you normally do, and add my Liberty server right into my Bluemix server, and he would actually do the same thing, deploy the Liberty server package right into Bluemix, okay? So you could do that as well. You didn't have to do Ant scripts. That's just what we did because, quite frankly, I didn't know of that capability at the time. So while I was talking, thank goodness, my Java application appears to be up and in a running state according to the command line. And if I go back to Bluemix, let's see here, my application appears, hopefully. He still says red, but maybe he's catching up.
You have to refresh the browser.
Yeah, whoops. Yeah, so now he's back up, okay? So let me see if I can hit the page. Probably should have not done that, Kevin. Let me do it in a new tab so I don't lose my Bluemix. So there is my good old-fashioned CloudTrader app. And